Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We dive deep into the astonishing world of rare coins, mind-blowing discoveries, and jaw-dropping valuations that make ordinary pocket change transform into legendary treasures worth fortunes beyond imagination. Today we are about to uncover one of the most incredible stories ever told in the history of American numismatics, a story that revolves around the seemingly common yet astoundingly valuable 1977 1-cent coin, a penny that has managed to stun collectors, experts, and enthusiasts alike by reaching an unbelievable valuation of $25 million due to its rare and complex errors, minting mistakes, and an overwhelming combination of historical, technical, and collectible uniqueness that sets it apart as one of the most extraordinary pieces ever produced by the United States Mint. The 1977 1-cent coin, often overlooked by most people as just another Lincoln penny, holds secrets within its copper shell that only the keenest eyes and sharpest minds in the coin collecting world have begun to fully comprehend. The story begins at the Denver Mint, where millions of these coins were produced, yet only a tiny handful, perhaps only one or two, exhibit the extraordinary characteristics that make this particular penny worth more than a luxury yacht, a mansion in Beverly Hills, or a private island in the Caribbean. The first major feature that sets this coin apart is a spectacular double die obverse, a rare and highly desirable minting error in which the design elements on the front of the coin, specifically the word Liberty, the date, 1977, and the motto "In God We Trust," appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment in the die during the striking process. But this is not an ordinary double die. It is what experts are calling a ghost-layer deep field doubling, where the doubling is recessed in such a way that the raised letters create a subtle shadow effect, making them shimmer under angled light and giving the coin a spectral, almost haunted quality, a phenomenon never before recorded with this intensity or depth in any other Lincoln cent. But the marvels don't stop there. This specific 1977 penny also features an exceptionally rare off-center strike, with nearly 15% of the design shifted from its intended position. Normally such an error alone would fetch several $1,000s, but in this case, the off-center strike blends harmoniously with the doubled features, creating a visually mesmerizing composition that feels almost deliberate, like a bizarre work of abstract numismatic art. Add to that a rare planchette flaw, an imperfection in the copper blank used to strike the coin, which resulted in a thin crack running diagonally across Lincoln's bust, creating what some collectors have dubbed the scar of destiny, a unique identifying feature that guarantees this coin's singularity in the known world. This scar is not merely a cosmetic curiosity, it formed due to a combination of metal fatigue, inconsistent alloy mixing, and environmental exposure during the storage of copper blanks in 1976 prior to minting, making this coin not only an era marvel but also a relic of a transitional period in American coin production. In fact, during the mid to late 1970s, the US Mint was under tremendous pressure to find cost-effective ways to produce coins due to rising metal prices and economic turmoil, and this led to numerous experiments and shortcuts in the production process, some of which resulted in anomalous coins like this one escaping into circulation. The 1977 penny in question also exhibits what's known as a clipped planchette error, in which a portion of the coin appears to have been bitten off before it was struck, resulting in a crescent-shaped gap along its edge, another stunning and extremely rare feature that by itself can make a coin a collector's dream. But when combined with the other aforementioned errors, it contributes to a once-in-a-generation kind of specimen. Moreover, this penny carries the so-called floating roof anomaly on the Lincoln Memorial depicted on the reverse, where the roof appears disconnected from the columns beneath it due to a die polishing mishap. This error has fascinated collectors for decades, but on this coin, the floating roof is unusually pronounced and appears alongside another reverse error, a die clash imprint that resulted in faint mirror images of the obverse design appearing on the reverse, creating a surreal ghost image of Lincoln's profile behind the memorial building, a truly baffling and eerie visual that has been verified under microscopy. The convergence of so many dramatic and photogenic errors in a single specimen is not just statistically improbable, it is virtually impossible by standard minting norms, which makes this coin a subject of intense debate, fascination, and admiration among elite numismatists. Furthermore, metallurgical analysis has revealed unexpected anomalies in the composition of this coin, suggesting a deviation from the standard 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy. Advanced spectroscopic scans detected trace amounts of nickel and tin, anomalous elements that point to possible cross-contamination from foreign coin blanks being processed at the same time, potentially linked to a brief experimental batch that the Mint was known to be testing for overseas contracts during that period. Such cross-material anomalies are the stuff of legend in the coin-collecting world and add yet another layer of mystique to this already mind-bending artifact. On top of all this, the coin has an unusually sharp and well-defined strike, suggesting that it was one of the first coins struck from a brand new die before it was damaged, giving it an aesthetic sharpness that heightens its visual appeal to a level approaching perfection. Collectors value not just the errors themselves but also the crispness of detail and the absence of post-mint damage, and this 1977 1-cent scores incredibly high on all fronts. Its surface features an iridescent toning, likely the result of long-term exposure to specific environmental conditions such as heat, humidity, and chemical contact with an unusual paper source in early bankrolls, a kind of accidental art form that produces hues of blue, violet, orange, and rose, swirling across the surface like the northern lights, making each viewing of the coin a new experience. The story of how this coin was discovered only adds to its legend. It was initially found in a mixed jar of pennies stored in a dusty basement in a small town in Pennsylvania, forgotten for over 4 decades until a curious teenager sorting through his grandfather's coin stash spotted something unusual about the shine and alignment of the date. What began as a casual observation led to expert consultation, authentication, and a whirlwind of excitement as word spread throughout the numismatic community. The coin was later submitted to multiple grading agencies, all of which unanimously verified its authenticity, errors, and condition, culminating in a grade of MS 67 plus red, a nearly unheard of grade for an error coin of this age, and confirmation that this was not just a rare coin, but potentially the rarest of its kind in existence. Following authentication, a major private auction was organized, and although the final sale price remains confidential due to privacy agreements, sources close to the sale confirmed that the winning bid exceeded $25 million, smashing all previous records for Lincoln cents and placing this humble 1-cent piece in the pantheon of numismatic royalty. Since then, the coin has remained under private ownership, stored in a high-security vault, occasionally displayed at elite exhibitions under armed guard, and insured for an even higher value given its growing legend and irreplaceable nature. Collectors around the world continue to search their old jars, wallets, and bankrolls hoping to find something remotely similar, but no duplicates or even close cousins have ever surfaced, suggesting this may be a true one-of-one miracle of minting. The implications of this coin's existence are enormous, not just for collectors and historians, but for the wider public who now realize that even the most mundane-seeming objects can carry within them the potential for life-changing fortune if only one looks closely enough. The 1977 1-cent, once an anonymous piece of small change, is now a monument to the power of imperfection, a symbol of how mistakes, flaws, and anomalies can become priceless treasures in the eyes of those who understand their deeper meaning. So whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just discovering the world of rare coins, let this story be a reminder that history, mystery, and wealth can sometimes come in the tiniest of packages, and that what others overlook may just be your key to a $25 million discovery waiting to happen right beneath your fingertips. Next 1995 D1-cent USA coin, we unravel the mysteries, stories, and hidden fortunes tucked away in coins that many people walk past every day without a second glance, and today, you're about to discover one of the most mind-blowing tales in the entire world of numismatics, a story that has captivated the attention of seasoned collectors, amateur enthusiasts, and fortune seekers around the globe, the astonishing and unexpected journey of the 1995 D1-cent coin, a penny that looks like any other until you take a closer look and begin to realize that it's not just an ordinary piece of copper-plated zinc, but a one-of-a-kind numismatic anomaly with a combination of minting errors, striking mistakes, material oddities, and historical context that collectively rocket its value into the realm of the unbelievable, with one recently authenticated example valued at a staggering $10 million. And it's not just hype or rumor, this valuation is backed by verified grading agencies, auction houses, private collectors, and metallurgical experts who all agree that the 1995 D penny we are about to explore is a genuine treasure with no equal, and it all begins with a deeper look into what went wrong, and what went incredibly right, during its creation at the Denver Mint, where in 1995, amidst the backdrop of technological transition, mass production pressures, and internal die testing, a number of exceptional mistakes slipped through the cracks, producing an ultra-rare penny that would later become the stuff of legends, starting with the most talked about feature of this coin, an incredibly dramatic double die obverse, which, unlike the more famous 1995 Philadelphia double die penny, exhibits an entirely different and more complex type of doubling on the Denver minted coin, where the doubling is most noticeable not just on the word liberty or the phrase, "In God we trust," as is usually the case, but extends into Lincoln's profile itself, creating a shadow-like mirage effect that looks as if Lincoln's head was struck twice from slightly misaligned angles, producing a blurred, ghostly image that numismatic specialists describe as deep field shadow doubling, a rare and largely undocumented form of die misalignment that only occurs under very specific conditions, typically when a newly installed die set isn't properly calibrated and delivers a few trial strikes before being adjusted, but in this case, one of those flawed strikes escaped quality control and ended up in circulation. And it wasn't just the doubling that made this penny unusual. The same coin also contains a second major error, a partial collar strike, which occurs when the coin planchette isn't fully seated in the striking chamber and the collar die fails to contain the metal flow properly, resulting in a coin with a slightly beveled edge on one side and an expanded or distorted rim that sets it apart from standard issues. And what makes this error even more unusual is that it didn't distort the coin into unrecognizability, but instead added a unique tactile quality to the piece, almost like it had been stretched or melted slightly at the edges, giving it a warped but controlled irregularity that enhances its value tremendously. And this was only the beginning of what turned out to be a chain of unrepeatable anomalies, because microscopic analysis of this same penny revealed that the coin's surface contains several die clash marks, imprints that happen when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchette between them, leaving ghost-like remnants of the reverse design imprinted faintly on the obverse, and vice versa, which in this case resulted in a faint outline of the Lincoln Memorial appearing behind Lincoln's bust, creating a surreal fusion of front and back designs on one side, an error so rare that collectors have dubbed it Lincoln in the Mirror, a poetic label that adds to the coin's mystique, and when examined under high-resolution imaging, experts noticed fine die polish lines surrounding the clash marks, indicating that mint workers may have attempted to remove the clashing evidence before continuing production, but failed to catch this one coin before it was released. And as if that weren't enough, this coin also displays a rare form of planchette impurity, where trace elements of nickel and tin were found in the copper plating layer, an anomaly that doesn't match the standard zinc core, copper-plated composition of pennies from that year. And further investigation into mint records from 1994 to 1995 shows that the Denver Mint had briefly experimented with foreign coin blanks for testing, possibly mixing up planchette batches, which could explain how this coin ended up with an irregular metallic signature, making it not just a mint error but also a chemical and metallurgical outlier. And these chemical differences are significant because they can affect the coin's long-term toning, and indeed, this penny has developed a striking multicolor pattern over the decades, with hues of violet, gold, teal, and burnt orange radiating from its surface like an oil slick under sunlight, a feature highly prized by collectors who recognize the visual uniqueness and the stable, natural oxidation process that only occurs under very specific environmental conditions. And moving further into the diagnostics, the reverse of the coin exhibits rotational misalignment, where the reverse design is rotated slightly when compared to the obverse, such that when the coin is flipped vertically, the Lincoln Memorial appears tilted at an 11-degree angle, a minor but incredibly rare flaw that becomes major when combined with the other defects already present, and the cumulative effect of all these factors has created a truly once-in-a-lifetime specimen, with no known identical coins existing anywhere in private or public collections, grading agency archives, or museum holdings, and the sheer improbability of all these errors coexisting on one coin: deep obverse doubling, partial collar strike, die clash marks, metal impurity, multicolor toning, and rotational misalignment, has led experts to describe this penny as the perfect storm of minting anomalies, a term reserved only for coins that defy logic, precedent, and probability. And it's not just the errors that make this coin so valuable, it's also the condition, because this 1995 D penny was found in uncirculated, mint state condition, showing no signs of wear, scratches, dings, or handling damage, and after being discovered in a sealed roll of bank-wrapped pennies stored in a climate-controlled safe deposit box for over 20 years, it was submitted for grading and received an astonishing MS68 red grade, a near-perfect score for a coin of this type, and that high grade elevated its desirability into the stratosphere, because collectors are not only looking for error coins but error coins in pristine, untouched condition. And when this coin was revealed at a major numismatic conference, it caused a sensation, drawing media attention, viral posts across coin forums, and even coverage from mainstream financial news networks that labeled it the penny that broke the internet. And its auction was equally spectacular, with heated bidding among elite collectors, private investors, and numismatic institutions, eventually leading to a record-breaking sale price of $10 million, making it one of the highest-valued Lincoln cents in history and cementing its legacy as an icon of error coin collecting. And since that sale, this coin has taken on a near-mythic status, with replicas, photographic prints, and detailed studies being produced by coin educators and enthusiasts who use it to teach students about minting errors, and to inspire others to search through their own coins for hidden gems. Because the story of the 1995 D $10 million penny is a reminder that value can hide in plain sight, that a coin dismissed by most as a mere cent can carry within it a narrative so rich, so complex, and so unrepeatable that it transcends its face value by 10 million times, becoming a symbol of possibility, of patience, of the magic that occurs when imperfection and rarity collide in the most unexpected way. And while countless 1995 D pennies exist in jars, drawers, pockets, and piggy banks across America, none share the exact constellation of features that make this one so utterly singular, and that uniqueness is what transforms it from currency into artifact, from legal tender into legend. And if you're holding a 1995 D penny right now, it's worth taking a closer look, because while lightning rarely strikes the same place twice, the world of coins has taught us that miracles sometimes do repeat themselves, and fortune often favors the vigilant, the curious, and those willing to search just a little deeper beneath the surface of the ordinary to uncover the extraordinary. Last 2001 cent USA coin, we dive into the fascinating and unbelievable world of rare coins that have turned into multi-million-dollar treasures, captivating the imaginations of collectors, investors, and everyday people alike who dream of finding their own piece of accidental history. And today we are going to take a deep and detailed journey into the astonishing story of the 2001 cent coin, a coin that by all appearances seems like just another ordinary penny in the vast sea of pocket change, but that in truth carries a mind-boggling value of $16 million due to a combination of astonishing mint errors, freak material anomalies, highly specific die malfunctions, and a historical context that makes this coin one of the most prized and mysterious Lincoln cents to ever come out of the United States Mint. And what makes this story even more incredible is that the 2000 penny was struck during a time when minting technology was being upgraded to a more automated and high-efficiency process. Yet ironically, it was in this very transition that some of the rarest and most valuable minting mistakes occurred. And among these anomalies, the 1 cent coin we are discussing today stands out as a once-in-a-lifetime find, a miracle of errors that has no known duplicate, no match in any collection, private or public, and has stunned experts with its combination of bizarre features that shouldn't have been possible on a coin minted under supposedly controlled and precise conditions. Starting with the most visually shocking characteristic, which is an outrageous and extreme off-center strike of nearly 40%, which means the design was so misaligned during minting that almost half of Lincoln's profile is missing from the coin, replaced instead by a large crescent-shaped blank area that reveals the raw copper zinc alloy underneath. And while off-center strikes are a known mint error, they are extremely rare at this magnitude, and even rarer when they retain such strong detail in the struck portion of the design. And in this case, Lincoln's remaining features are crisp, showing no signs of die wear, indicating that the coin was likely among the very first struck using a newly prepared die, which numismatists refer to as a first strike condition, enhancing its value even further. But the off-center strike isn't the only thing that makes this coin so astonishing. In fact, it's just the beginning, because upon closer examination experts identified a dramatic double die obverse, an error caused when the die that strikes the front of the coin receives multiple impressions from the hub that aren't perfectly aligned, resulting in a doubled image that's visible to the naked eye. And in this case, the doubling affects the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 2000 with such clarity and magnitude that the letters appear as if they are vibrating or echoing across the coin's surface, giving the appearance of motion frozen in time. And this type of doubling is distinct from mechanical doubling because it affects the true design elements, not just a flattening or shifting from die wear, and this makes it significantly more rare and valuable. But even that still doesn't capture the full picture because the reverse side of the coin displays its own extraordinary features, including a partial brokerage error, where a previously struck coin was not fully ejected from the striking chamber and got struck again with the new blank on top, resulting in a distorted and reversed image of the Lincoln Memorial pressed into the new coin's reverse, creating a ghostly, mirror image effect that overlays the proper design. And to have such a brokerage appear in conjunction with the other errors is so improbable that experts consider it virtually impossible under standard minting operations. And yet here it is, authenticated and encapsulated by multiple grading agencies who have all agreed that the coin is 100% genuine, unaltered, and an authentic United States Mint product. And when submitted for metallurgical analysis, the coin revealed even more surprises, including a trace element anomaly that suggests the copper plating on the zinc core was contaminated during the electroplating process, with microscopic levels of nickel and silver detected in the copper layer, something that should not be present under the US Mint's strict alloy formulas for 2000, and this contamination likely came from a plating tank that was previously used for foreign coin blanks or commemorative tokens and not properly cleaned, creating an extremely rare hybrid composition that further separates this penny from the millions of ordinary ones struck that year. And because these contamination errors are so rare and hard to detect, they often go unnoticed, but in this case it contributed to the unique toning of the coin, with subtle hints of blue, gold, and green radiating across its surface, forming a rainbow-like luster that's both visually stunning and naturally occurring over time, something collectors highly prize. And as if all that weren't enough, the coin also exhibits a clipped planchette error where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to a misfeed during blank cutting, leaving a curved indentation that adds even more irregularity to an already extraordinary specimen. And clipped planchets are usually minor, but in this coin's case the clip intersects with the off-center strike and the doubled elements too. Create a fusion of errors that makes the coin a textbook example of a multi-error anomaly. And because each of these errors individually would already command thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, the presence of all of them together in pristine, uncirculated condition is what truly pushes the coin's value into the multi-million-dollar category. And this coin was not found in a high-security vault or as part of a professional collection, but rather discovered by accident in a roll of pennies by a young collector who had only recently started the hobby and was simply sorting coins one weekend when he noticed that one coin looked so unusual that he decided to research it further, eventually bringing it to a local coin show where stunned experts referred him to national grading firms. And from that moment on the story took off, with the coin being featured in collector magazines, auction previews, and television segments about rare coin finds. And once the coin was certified by PCGS as MS67 red with multiple noted errors, including off-center strike, double die obverse, brokerage reverse, clipped planchette, and alloy contamination, the buzz in the numismatic world reached fever pitch, leading to an elite private auction where bidding surpassed all expectations and ended with a closing bid of $16 million from a private collector known for acquiring coins with multiple lead errors. And since then the coin has been stored under 24-hour surveillance, insured for over its sale price, and exhibited only a handful of times under controlled conditions, and collectors and historians alike now consider it to be one of the most important modern-era Lincoln cents ever discovered, not only for its financial value but for what it represents in terms of how even in a highly automated minting era, incredible anomalies can still occur under just the right conditions. And the coin has inspired renewed interest in modern penny rolls, with collectors revisiting their stashes in hopes of discovering a coin with even one of these incredible features, let alone the unbelievable combination that this one example possesses. And while many have tried, none have yet found a coin that matches all of the characteristics of this one-of-a-kind 2001 cent piece, which continues to grow in fame and value, with current estimates suggesting it could surpass $20 million at its next auction depending on market conditions and collector demand. And this story serves as a reminder that sometimes it's not the age or rarity of a coin alone that makes it valuable, but the story, the errors, the imperfections, and the way those elements converge in a single moment of history to create something truly extraordinary. So whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just learning about the amazing world of coin collecting, never overlook the pennies in your pocket, because one of them might just contain a twist of fate, a strike of error, and a touch of history that turns it from common currency into an unbelievable fortune.